Well, we have made it to the end of February.
We are, but it's a beautiful end of February day.
It is. It's so amazing. The weather's like going to be in the high 80s or
Mid to high 80s.
Mid to high 80s. It's hard to believe it's February. We're still technically in winter.
And we're talking Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
Fahrenheit. So we're going to be out and about, enjoy the weather today and the sunshine while it lasts. I don't know if we're going to get another little bit of a cold spell before winter's officially over, but while we have the nice warm weather, we're going to go and enjoy it.
Get out and enjoy it. In fact, it's hard to believe. It's past time to mow the yard. Grass is like 6-8 inches high.
It's actually growing. Yeah, I think some of my outdoor plants are actually starting to come back. So hopefully it's not going to get too cold where it kills them again. But anyway, enjoy the weather if you're in the Texas area or where it's warmer. Really sorry that some of the East Coast is still experiencing some super, super cold weather with snow and ice and all that yucky stuff. And the West Coast, they had like an avalanche, and I saw a video of a guy that was buried in snow that was skiing.
Oh my gosh,
it's like 40 feet under.
Yeah.
And
it was horrible. There was like 8 of them.
Very scary. Yeah. So anyway, if you're experiencing some good weather, know that you're blessed and enjoy it while you can in case there's another little cold spell that comes through before winter's officially over. Speaking of being out and about, though,
into February, at least for our area, Texas, March 3rd is official voting day.
Yep. So get out and do your research. Get out and vote. Get your friends out there to vote. Your vote matters.
Let your voice be heard. We already voted. We did early voting, but it was interesting. A lot of people don't realize that depending on which party that you vote for, at least here in Texas, it's a whole different list of propositions. A lot of them don't even cross over. So
we were very surprised to see this. I for some reason, was not aware that there's 2 sets of propositions that get put for a vote. But if you're a Democrat, you see one set. If you're a registered Republican, you see another set. So I was very surprised about that.
But you can find those online. You can look them up online and see what the different ones are. But you're only allowed to vote for the propositions that are
on your ballot,
specific to your party's ballot. So
yeah, it's very interesting. And so we're still kind of trying to figure out what the process is. If you're aware of how this works, so our understanding was some of these that were listed as a proposition were already in place and they have been voted for and active. And then we see it on the ballot thinking, okay, well, obviously it hasn't been passed. So if you guys know how these work, so is it based on the number of votes that go now into the general election in November and that gets combined at that point, or how that all unfolds?
I have my theory. I don't know that it's true. I think what's on the propositions, if they get enough support, then they make it part of their marketing campaign and their platform campaign, their talking points for November.
They get elected, but what actually happens with that proposition?
Yeah. So I don't know that I'm right. I don't want to tell people that that's what they're doing, but that's kind of my gut feeling is that it's to kind of measure the temperature and the consensus on the proposition, so that whoever wins this stage of the election process has got their platform, their talking points, their mailers, their campaigns, their billboards, but the interesting thing is, if you're a Republican, you can't even see the propositions that the Democrats are voting for. So what if you actually wanted one of the propositions that the Democrats are voting for, or vice versa, a Democrat that, if they were to see the list of propositions on the Republican ballot, they may want to vote for the other one. So how do they get those real numbers? Because ideally, every candidate is trying to get more votes from the other party. But if you don't ever share during the actual voting, how do you propose to win over Republicans like a Democrat might do, or a Republican running wants to win over some of the Democrats? So if you know part of the process, you've been involved in part of the process, or you have more insight than us, share, tell us what's going on, because
and the research and stuff, I always encourage people to go out and do the research, find out what the propositions are in your area so you know what to vote for. We've only been privy to the propositions in the Republican.
I've looked up all the. I've got both sides. I know what.
No, you did get both sides, but I did not realize, and so I guess where I was looking, I was only seeing propositions that are on a Republican ballot, not on a Democrat ballot, which I was not aware of. So, yeah, that's some new kind of information.
Regardless, get out and vote. There's only a few days left. The early voting's over with, so make sure you let your voice be heard, your opinion counted, and get out and vote.
Yeah, it's just important. It's a right we all have. We should exercise it. We only get to do it a few times in the year, so it's a good opportunity to get out, get some information, learn a little bit about your candidates in your area, and make your voice heard.
Well, the other big thing going on today is early morning daylight hours, which is a surprise. Iran has been attacked by Israel and the U.S. is supporting to kind of give support for incoming drones and missiles, but they did it in daylight hours. The information that I've heard is they did it based on when the Iranian top military leaders were all going to be in one place. So they actually they identified that they had gathered in 3 separate places, and that Israel strategically has taken out those 3 specific places all simultaneously. So I don't know what the fallout from that is, but that's why it happened during daylight hours, which is very unusual, usually under cover of dark. But
my understanding, what little bit I read and heard about this morning, was that the Israeli military is targeting and focusing on the leaders, personnel in Iran, and the U.S. is looking at locations specific to weapons, nuclear sites, etc., that they might be trying to rebuild.
So Israel's taking care of people, and U.S.'s piece is taking care of places.
That's kind of what we understand. I'm sure more of it's going to unfold as the day progresses today and through the weekend, but something to keep an eye out for. I know there was a warning, I think it was Thursday or Friday, that for anyone that wants to leave Israel, that they needed to do that. I think it was Thursday of this past week.
So anyway, I thought this was an appropriate shirt for today's. Remember, everyone deployed. So if you have family or friends that are deployed to that region, just keep them in mind as all this is going on.
Yeah. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully it will be swift, and everyone will return. There are a lot of ships out there in the region that have been out there for over 2 weeks. So, and then of course a lot of the support that may be a bit remote, but they are also still in the area. So, definitely need to remember those that are deployed and continue to support them. Locally today, we're going to just a veteran and first responder event at Aisling. We do that. We try to do that every month or so, depending on the weather and the conditions. If it's too hot or too cold, it's difficult to do it because it is outside. But today, again, it's a beautiful day, so we'll be out there enjoying and getting together with several veterans and first responders. And
here, it's Equine Therapy. They do volunteer. Well, if you're a first responder veteran, you can go out and take advantage of their services at no cost, either the veteran, the first responder, or the family of. But the information that Paige sent to me yesterday was we're expecting at least 45 people out there.
Good number, yeah.
So good number.
So that'll be a lot of fun and a time to relax and socialize and fellowship with other veterans and first responders and their families. There's some sweet animals out there. There's some goats and a
three-legged goats,
and some horses, and of course dogs and cats.
And a donkey.
We love her Pearl.
Pearl's the donkey.
So we'll be out there and enjoying some food, some fellowship, and some animals that we can go feed.
Yeah.
We got some carrots today to go feed the horses and the goats, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, we don't know if we're gonna take Charlie or not, but we'll see.
I don't know if he's actually been exposed to too many animals other than other dogs, an occasional cat here and there. So I have to work up to decide to bring him, I guess, maybe next time. But we'll let him rest for the day.
I just want to touch on the fact that it is a nonprofit foundation. So if you're looking for a veteran or first responder nonprofit to donate time or money to, reach out to us. We'll give you their contact information. You can go directly to them, learn more about what they do, who they help, what their mission statement is, and if you feel inclined, then you can communicate directly with Paige, and she'd be glad to let you know what she does and how she uses community support to further that cause. So.
Absolutely, and I will make sure that I put the name of the organization as well as their Facebook page and the website link. Yep. So one last thing. In a prior video, I had mentioned that we were looking at some different places to invest, and one of the companies that we were looking at, we're very excited about it. The numbers looked very intriguing, so we did ask if they could send us the contract so we could actually read the verbiage and make sure what we verbally heard and we met with the individual at this company, that was also reflected in the actual written contract that ultimately we would have to sign, and they would have to sign, so that we are contractually locked in and invested with this company.
And it was a very nice, short, succinct, sweet 80-page contract.
It was very detailed. With him being a contracts guy, he really did go through with a fine-tooth comb the verbiage and the what the responsibilities are from the investor side, from the company side, and so I have to say it's really important to take the time to read a contract that you're going to sign. You might think it's nothing.
Get some legal help. If you don't like reading contracts, get somebody.
It's worth
to
getting.
Read the contract.
Let me just give you one example. In this particular contract, the investment, usually you invest with a company, you make a return, and then at some point you get your principal back and any additional return that you have. Sometimes you get paid monthly as part of that, or however that's structured. But this particular contract, and it may be very common, but we haven't seen it in other investments that we have looked at thus far. But this one actually included that should this particular fund need additional funding, that this company could require you to maintain your investment status to contribute additional funds. And if you were not living, it would be requested of the heirs that you have identified.
Required, not requested.
I'm sorry, required. That they could force that to keep the investment status with the fund. So to me, that's like huge. And of course, we did ask the company about some of the verbiage, and the response back was, we've never done that. That doesn't mean that you're not contractually obligated to adhere to that.
Don't look here. Move along.
Very
We've never done it before, so it's don't worry about it.
But if you don't have to worry about it, then why have it in the contract? Remove it from the contract if you're not. I mean, I understand that it's very easy to say verbally, oh, we've never done that, but they put that in for a reason, and it is to protect the company. It is not to protect the investor. So please, 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 if you're going to invest in anything and you're going to sign a contract along with that investment, it's not just a verbal agreement, then please take the time to read that contract, ask the questions, and if they don't give you a response that you're comfortable with.
And in fact, it's part of the contract that any verbal communication is overridden by
the written. So the fact that they were telling us,
they tell you don't take into account anything you've been told, any conversations,
right?
If it's not written, then it's not in the contract.
But that is a common thing.
Oh yeah,
that we've seen that in many contracts, that they say, the written contract and agreement is the actual criteria for a particular investment, not any verbal conversations that you have had. So that's more common. This particular little thing I have not seen in prior contracts. So yeah, just a note to keep in your mind as you look at different investment.
And the guys were good. I mean, the person that was helping us, nice guy, very friendly. We're not saying anything bad about the company. And
no.
Hopefully those that have invested and do invest, they're going to make great returns. It's just,
and not have any issues.
We weren't comfortable, so we moved along to look at other things.
Yeah,
but the point of this is, read the contract, or have somebody that you trust read the contracts before you sign them with anything you do, whether it's an investment or purchasing a vehicle or a car or a motorcycle.
Your lease agreements. If you don't feel comfortable or you don't really understand some of the verbiage, it might be beneficial to ask a lawyer to look it over so that you're just better protected. I mean, the amount of things that we have to sign on a regular basis as we move through, purchases and sales and, all kinds of investments and things. It is amazing how much paperwork there is that you have to sign, and you're obligating yourself to that because now it's in writing and it's got your signature. So anyway, for investments and some of the things that we've experienced, we just wanted to kind of share that with you. Have you seen any kind of unique verbiage that just makes you question a little bit what you were hearing versus, like, from a sales pitch versus what you're actually seeing in writing? Have you guys done that comparison? And what's a good example of something that just kind of perked your ears on, wait a minute, he said this, but in the written contract, it says something different, or it contradicts altogether what was said. So it'd be interesting to see what other things that people may need to look out for. If you've got something like that you've come across, we'd love to have you drop a comment and let us know about it.
A lighthearted contract that I entered into yesterday, and I didn't even think about it until you started talking about this. I went to downtown Dallas to have lunch with some friends, and parking is very bad in some parts of downtown Dallas.
Right, and very expensive.
This particular area, parking is at a premium, so I pulled into a parking garage, pushed a little button, got the ticket, and I was 15 minutes early, so I was standing and waiting on the other two guys to show up. In the meantime, I thought, well, okay, I'm going to read this ticket that I pulled from the parking garage, and you enter into a contract with a parking garage when you pull into the parking garage. And just the fact that you put your car there, they don't need your signature. You're now contractually obligated, according to this little ticket. It wasn't 80 pages, but it front and back, this little contract that says what your rights are and what your responsibilities are, and what the rights and responsibilities are of the parking garage owner. And it goes into detail that they're not responsible for any damage, not responsible for break-in, they're not responsible for anything that happens to your car while it's on that premises. And if you come back and your car's not there, they're not responsible, and your ticket is not a claim ticket. Your ticket is only proof that you have entered into their space, and depending on how much time you spend in their space is how much you're going to owe them in order to be able to leave their space. So,
very interesting.
So even parking in a parking garage, at least in Dallas, you've entered into a contract. So I wanted to keep it, but to get out, you have to turn your contract back into the machine and pay your money for the gate to go up.
Yeah, next time maybe we'll take a picture of it.
Yeah, I'm going to take a picture of it next time we go down. Yeah. So I entered into a contract yesterday.
Yeah.
Park our car, but thank goodness the contract's fulfilled and it's no longer.
That's right. It's just interesting. Yeah, I know people sign things a lot and you don't really read through the details of it and ask questions and all that because everybody's just trying to, this is standard, just sign it and move on.
It's just a parking voucher.
Yeah.
No, it's more than just a parking voucher. It is a contract.
Right. They're obligating you to all the responsibility, even though it's on their lot. Yep. And they take zero responsibility. So they have protected themselves with that little piece of paper. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so as always, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a comment and let us know your thoughts on these topics or any others that you might want us to touch on.
Yeah, and share with others. There's other people out there that may find our topics worth commenting on or listening to.
Yeah.